Thank you. The second agreement is a MOU between United Shipbuilding Corporation and the Council of Economic Cooperation of Andhra Pradesh on cooperation in shipbuilding, infrastructure projects, transfer of technologies, and training foreign specialists. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Alexei Rakamanov, President of the United Shipbuilding Corporation, and on the Indian side by Shri J. Krishna Kishore, CEO, Andhra Pradesh Economic Development Board. Thank you. The third MOU is between Rusinform Export and the Ministry of Urban Development of India, Ministry of Home Affairs, National Building Construction Corporation Limited, and the Government of Haryana on cooperation in development of smart cities in India with Russian IT solutions. Number 4, MOU between Gazprom and Engineers India Limited on the joint study of gas pipeline to India and other areas of cooperation. On the Russian side, Mr. Alexei Miller, Chairman of Gazprom's Managing Committee. On the Indian side, Shri Sanjay Gupta, CMD EIL. Thank you. Excellencies, the next agreement is an announcement. It is an act of announcement in relation to the successful execution of documents between Rosneft, a consortium of international investors, and SR for the acquisition of SR Oil Refinery, its related infrastructure and distribution assets. This agreement was reached between the following companies on the Russian side: Rosneft Oil Company, Trafigura Pte Limited, UCP PE Investment Limited, VTB Bank, and on the Indian side, SR Energy Holdings Limited. The sixth announcement is with respect to cooperation agreement in the area of education and training between Rosneft Oil Company and ONGC Videsh Limited. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Il Sachin, CEO Rosneft, and on the Indian side by Shri Narendra K. Verma, MD OVL. May I request the CEO of Rosneft and the MD of OVL to please present themselves for the exchange of agreements. Thank you. The seventh announcement relates to signing of MOU for setting up of investment fund between NIIF and RDIF. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Kirill Dmitriev, CEO of Russian Direct Investment Fund, and on the Indian side by Shri Samir Khare, Joint Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs. Thank you, sir. The eighth announcement is signing of MOU for cooperation between Indian and Russian Railways in increasing the speed of trains between Nagpur, Secunderabad, Hyderabad, and this will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Oleg Belozerov, President of Russian Railways, on the Indian side by Shri Naveen Kumar Shukla, Advisor, Railway Board. Thank you, sir. The ninth announcement is the signing of the shareholders' agreement for establishing a joint venture to manufacture Ka-2260 helicopter in India. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Anatoly Isakhin, Director General of Rosoboronexport Export, and Alexander Mikhev, CEO of Russian Helicopters, and on the Indian side by Shri T. Suvarna Raju, CMD Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. Thank you, sirs. Thank you. Next is the MOU between ISRO and Roscosmos on mutual allocation of ground measurement gathering stations for GLONASS and NAVIC. On the Russian side, this will be exchanged by Director General of the State Space Corporation, Roscosmos, Igor Komarov, and on the Indian side by Dr. A.S. Kiran Kumar, Chairman, ISRO. Thank you, sirs. Next is MOU between Ministry of Economic Development of the Russian Federation and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of the Republic of India on expansion of bilateral trade and economic cooperation. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Alexei Ulukyaev, Minister of Economic Development, and on the Indian side by our ambassador in Moscow, Ambassador Shri Pankaj Saran. Thank you, sir. Next is an MOU between Department of Science and Technology and FASO on the Russian side to be exchanged by Mr. Mikhail Kutyukov, Head of the Federal Agency for Scientific Organizations, and on the Indian side by Ambassador Shri Pankaj Saran. Thank you. Next is the Program of Cooperation in Oil and Gas Sector for the period 2017-18. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by the Russian Minister of Energy, Mr. Alexander Novak, and on the Indian side by Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas. Thank you, sirs. Next is the protocol for consultations between the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia for the period 2017-18. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Igor Morgulov, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, on the Indian side by Dr. S. Jaishankar, Foreign Secretary. Thank you, sir. Next is an agreement on cooperation in international information security to be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Igor Morgulov, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, and on the Indian side by Ambassador Shri Pankaj Saran. Thank you. Next is signing of an intergovernmental agreement to construct 4 additional 1135.6 frigates through partnership between Russian and Indian shipyards. This will be exchanged on the Russian side by Mr. Alexander Fomin, Director of the Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation, and by Ambassador Pankaj Saran on the Indian side. Thank you. Next is the signing of an IGA for the procurement of S-400 air defense system to be exchanged by Mr. Alexander Fomin, Director of the Federal Service of Military Technical Cooperation, and Ambassador Pankaj Saran. Thank you. There are 2 more announcements. The first is the roadmap of events to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between India and Russia in 2017. And the last announcement is the joint partnership for global peace and stability. This will be released to the media. Excellencies, this concludes the exchange of agreement and announcement ceremony. We will now proceed to the next element of the program, which will take us to the Kudankulam nuclear power plant in Tamil Nadu. We will begin the proceedings by showing you a short film on the Kudankulam nuclear power plant, which stands testimony to the close cooperation between India and Russia.
India and the Russian Federation are strategic partners. The cooperation between these two nations has been long and relentless. The Kudankulam nuclear power project in Tamil Nadu state of India is a testimony to the Indo-Russian cooperation and friendship. With the technical assistance from the Russian Federation, India built a pair of 1,000 megawatt nuclear power reactors at the Kudankulam site. The Unit 1 of Kudankulam nuclear power project, which is India's first 1,000 megawatt electricity unit, was dedicated to the Indo-Russian cooperation and friendship recently by Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Prime Minister of India, and His Excellency Vladimir Putin, Honorable President of Russian Federation. Unit 2 became operational on 7 July 2016. The expansion of Kudankulam site is underway with 2 more units, 3 and 4, of 1,000 megawatt units at the same site. In addition, 2 more similar units are under consideration at the same site. The Kudankulam site is rising as a mega power hub in the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will now link with the Kudankulam nuclear power plant, from where we are happy to report that the Unit 2 of the plant has begun supplying electricity to the grid. And further, in the presence of the Honorable President of the Russian Federation and the Prime Minister of India, we will witness the laying of the foundation concrete for Unit 3 and 4 of the power plant by CMD NPCIL and the President Atomstroy Export. Over to Kudankulam. Thank you, Kudankulam. I now invite the Honorable President of the Russian Federation and the Prime Minister of India to jointly unveil an e-plaque dedicating Unit 2 of the Kudankulam nuclear power plant to the friendship between our two great countries, and to launch the project for Unit. Excellencies, this brings us to the close of this ceremony. I now request the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs to now conduct the proceedings.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will now have press statements by the two leaders. May I first invite the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to deliver his press remarks.
Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, distinguished members of the Russian and Indian delegations, members of the media, it gives me great pleasure to welcome President Putin, an old friend of India, here in Goa today. As they say in Russian, Staria drug luce, novik duvak, means an old friend is better than 2 new friends. Excellency, I am aware of your deep affection for India. Your personal attention has been a source of strength in our relationship. And in the complex and changing global context, your leadership has provided stability and substance to our strategic partnership. Ours is a truly privileged and unique relationship. Friends, since the last two annual summits, the journey of our partnership has been renewed, focus and drive. President Putin and I have just concluded an extensive and useful conversation on the entire spectrum of our engagement. The highly productive outcomes of our meeting clearly establish the special and privileged nature of our strategic partnership. They also lay the foundations for deeper defense and economic ties in years ahead. The agreements on manufacturing of gamut 2-60 helicopters, constructions of frigates, and acquisition and building of other defense platforms are in synergy with India's technology and security priority. They also help us in achieve the objectives of Make in India. We have also agreed to work on an annual military industrial conference that will allow stakeholders on both sides to institute and push collaboration. These projects are new chapters in a long history of strong and diverse defense partnership that both sides can take much pride in it. Just minutes ago, with dedication of Kudankulam 2 and laying of foundation concrete of Kudankulam 3 and 4, we saw the tangible results of India-Russia cooperation in the field of civil nuclear energy. And with proposed construction of another 8 reactors, our wide-ranging cooperation in nuclear energy is set to bring rich dividends for both of us. It also fits in with our needs of energy security, access to high technology, and greater localization and manufacturing in India. Last year in Moscow, I had said that we would be enlarging our presence in Russia's hydrocarbon sector. In last 4 months alone, in a clear expression of our strong and deep engagement in the hydrocarbon sector, Indian companies have invested close to $5.5 billion in Russia's oil and gas sector. And with President Putin's support, we are ready to and willing to expand the scope of our engagement further. We are also undertaking a joint study of a gas pipeline route between our two countries, a combination of robust civil nuclear cooperation, LNG sourcing, partnership in the oil and gas sector, and engagement in renewables can construct a promising energy bridge between our two countries. Friends, with an eye on the future, we also agreed to set up a Science and Technology Commission. Through this, our societies will reap the benefits of joint development transfer and sharing of cutting-edge technologies in different fields. As with the last summit, we also continue to expand, diversify, and deepen our economic engagement. Business and industry between our two countries is connected more deeply today. Trade and investment ties are on the upswing. And with President Putin's backing, we hope to fast-track India's association with Eurasian Economic Union Free Trade Agreement. The Green Corridor and the International North-South Transport Corridor will serve to strengthen trade facilitation, logistical links, and ensure better connectivity between our two countries. Our efforts for early setting up of the investment fund of $1 billion between National Investment and Infrastructure Fund (NIIF) and Russia Direct Investment Fund (RDIF) will help advance our infrastructure partnership. We also want our economic linkages to connect the regions and states in both countries. Friends, the success of this summit shines a spotlight on the abiding strength of India-Russia strategic partnership. It also highlights our strong convergence of views and positions on pressing international and regional issues. Russia's clear stand on the need to combat terrorism mirrors of our own. We deeply appreciate Russia's understanding and support of our actions to fight cross-border terrorism that threatens our entire region. We both affirm the need for zero tolerance in dealing with terrorists and their supporters. President Putin and I noted the similarity of our views on the situation in Afghanistan and turmoil in West Asia. We also agreed to work closely to respond to the challenges posed by the unsettled nature of the global economic and financial markets. Our close collaboration at the United Nations, BRICS, East Asia Summit, G20, Shanghai Cooperation Organization makes our partnership truly global, both in its scope and coverage. Excellency, Putin, as we approach the 17th anniversary of the establishment of our diplomatic ties next year, India and Russia are celebrating and building on the achievements of our past. We are working to model a partnership that befits our common ambition and meets our shared goals for the 21st century. Our close friendship has given clear direction, fresh impulse, stronger momentum, and rich connect to our ties. In the emerging regional and global landscape, it has been a source of strength and substance, a driver of peace and a factor of stability. As one would say it in Russian, India Russia ruka, ab rukuva svetloe videshviya. India and Russia together to a bright future. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
May I now invite His Excellency Mr. Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, to deliver his press remarks.
Уважаемый господин премьер-министр, дамы и господа, дорогие друзья! Прежде всего хочу поздравить наших индийских друзей с началом полноценной работы второго энергоблока атомной электростанции Кудам-Кулам. Ну и, конечно, с запуском строительства третьего и четвертого блоков электростанции. Возводимая по самым современным российским технологиям и с участием наших специалистов атомная станция станет будет очень существенным вкладом в обеспечение энергетической безопасности Индии и повышение ее энергообеспеченности. Поможет расширить доступ жителей и промышленных производств к надежным и бесперебойным поставкам электроэнергии и тем самым даст дополнительный импульс к росту национальной индийской экономики. Россия будет и дальше оказывать всемирное содействие нашим индийским коллегам в развитии ядерной энергетики. Ведется работа над межправсоглашением по 5-му, 6-му блокам АЭС Кудам-Кулам. Всего же на основе российских технологий и наработок в ближайшие 20 лет может быть построено не менее 12 атомных реакторов. Наша страна также является надежным поставщиком углеводородов на индийский рынок. Господин премьер-министр уже упоминал, Роснефть в течение 10 лет намерена экспортировать в Индию 100 миллионов тонн нефти. «Газпром» начал реализацию долгосрочного контракта на поставку 2,5 миллионов тонн СПГ в год. Россия экспортирует в Индию и уголь. В первом полугодии этого года поставлено 2 миллиона тонн. Подчеркну, мы настроены расширять двустороннее сотрудничество не только в энергетике, но и по всем другим направлениям. Россия и Индия – особо привилегированные стратегические партнеры. Господин премьер-министр говорил о дружбе между нашими странами, которая сложилась в течение многих-многих лет. Мы намерены и дальше идти именно по этому пути. Наши страны связывают давняя история и взаимопонимание. В следующем году, здесь тоже уже было сказано об этом, мы отмечаем 70-летие дипломатических отношений. В ходе переговоров с премьер-министром Индии, сначала в узком, а затем и в расширенном составе, с участием руководителей министерств и ведомств обеих стран, глав крупных компаний, подробно обсудили текущее состояние и перспективы наших отношений, нашего сотрудничества во всех областях. По итогам принято совместное заявление и подписан солидный пакет документов. Уважаемые представители прессы, вы были свидетелями этого события. Разумеется, особое внимание было уделено торгово-экономическому сотрудничеству. С удовлетворением отметили, что в структуре встречных экспортно-импортных потоков преобладают товары с высокой добавленной стоимостью, продукция машиностроения и промышленной переработки. Есть и, конечно, проблемы, связанные со снижением цен на традиционные статьи российского экспорта, связанные с курсовыми разницами. Сказывается волатильность цен. Мы договорились наращивать общие усилия для возврата торговли на траекторию устойчивого роста. Большие перспективы видим в создании зоны свободной торговли между Индией и Евразийским экономическим союзом. Экспертные и деловые круги поддерживают заключение такого соглашения. Рассчитываем, что решение о начале переговоров будет принято лидерами стран Евразес уже в декабре этого года на очередном заседании Высшего Евразийского экономического совета. Нацелены активно развивать с Индией двусторонние инвестиционные связи. В прошлом году объем накопленных взаимных капиталовложений достиг 12 миллиардов, и таким образом мы вплотную приблизились к поставленной на 2025 год цели инвестиций в объеме 15 миллиардов долларов. Активно работает межправкомиссия, очередное заседание которой состоялось 13 сентября в Нью-Дели. По ее линии согласовано 20 крупных инвестиционных проектов в инфраструктурной, строительной, в инновационной отраслях. Средства на их реализацию предоставит и создаваемый сегодня фонд между РФПИ и Национальной инфраструктурной корпорацией Индии. Об этом мой уважаемый коллега тоже уже сказал. Компании обеих стран углубляют промышленную кооперацию. Российские предприятия проявляют большой интерес к индийской инициативе «Делай в Индии». Идут переговоры о налаживании лицензионного производства самолетов гражданских Сухой Суперджет 100, а также о совместной разработке регионального пассажирского самолета. В этой работе будут принимать участие компания «Российские железные дороги», Объединенная судостроительная компания, Роскосмос. Успешно развивается сотрудничество в военной и военно-технической сферах. Россия не только осуществляет поставки вооружений и боевой техники, но и открывает в Индии совместное производство самых современных ее образцов. Налажен, например, выпуск истребителей Су-30 МКИ, танков Т-90, противокорабельных ракет комплексов «Брамос». В планах начать собирать в Индии многоцелевые вертолеты, военные фрегаты. Нацелены укреплять гуманитарные связи. В прошлом году в России прошел фестиваль индийской культуры, а в этом фестиваль российской культуры в Индии. Профильные ведомства двух стран готовят масштабную программу культурных обменов на 2017-2018 годы. Большое число мероприятий, концертов, выставок намечено на следующий год, который, как уже упоминал, станет юбилейным для российско-индийских отношений. И, разумеется, мы ведем очень обстоятельный диалог по всей международной проблематике, где позиции Индии и России очень близки или совпадают. Одно из приоритетных направлений – это совместная борьба с террором. Большое спасибо за внимание.
I thank the two leaders for their statements. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the joint press briefing. Thank you all.